Ask me how dedicated I am. It's lunchtime right now, and I'm making videos. That's right. Anyway, let's get to it. So, guys, you noticed that we did the changeover. We had like a black screen in the back. That was a video I made for college algebra, but it was definitely applicable to you guys because we needed to have a kind of a background in just regular factoring. So before we did this, the solving quadratic equations by factoring, we wanted to kind of reminisce about what that was like, about factoring and all that stuff. So now that we know that, now we can kind of get into solving equations. So now again, what you guys were used to seeing in the last one was like it was something like this, like ax squared plus bx plus c, and you just factored it. You got your two parentheses, whatever. Now what we're going to do is solving a quadratic equation. It's going to be equal to 0, and we're going to have to solve when it's equal to 0. And I'll show you. Now again, the first thing we need to know is about the multiplication property of 0. You can also hear it as the zero product property, anything like that. Again, it's just all the kinds of different things. So, okay, so again, if I have two things that are being multiplied and they equal 0, then question mark is what we have to figure out is, okay, what has to be true? Well, we know that if a times b equals 0, then one of these is going to be equal to 0. Now, we won't know which one, but that's what the property states. Then we are going to set both of them equal to 0. And that's it. So, let's apply it. So again, you see we've got a couple different factors here. These are already factored for us. How convenient. Let's get to it. So again, you're going to see you got x minus 2 times x plus 4 equals 0. So we're going to take each one and set it equal to 0. We're going to make two different equations. Alright, and so then we'll add 2 over. So x equals 2. Subtract 4. X equals negative 4. There you go. And keep going. Alright, so again, you see here 2x plus 3 times x minus 5 equals 0. Set them both equal to 0. So 2x plus 3 equals 0. X minus 5 equals 0. And solve. So subtract 3 from both sides here. So 2x equals negative 3 divided by 2. X equals negative 3 halves. Add 5 on this one. So x equals 5. And those are your two answers there. Alright, here, same deal. Set them both. I'm not going to do this one. You guys get the idea. Okay, set them both equal to 0 and solve. That's it. Okay. Next one. Okay, and again, this is, hold on, let me help you here. This is example 2. My bad. Okay, it says to write an example, or write a quadratic equation in standard form with the given roots. Now again, standard form is the ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And it doesn't actually, yeah, it needs to be an equation, so it has to be equal to 0. So we know that if these are the roots, then this is x equals 6 and x equals negative 3. So what we can do is actually, we're going to work backwards, okay? So in this case, I can subtract 6 from both sides, so it's x minus 6 equals 0. I don't know why I'm like holding my hand up like this to you guys. I don't know why. It's weird. I just thought I needed to share that. Add 3 to both sides here, so it's x plus 3 equals 0. Now we can kind of combine them, so it'll be x minus 6 times x plus 3 equals 0. And now we can just kind of FOIL it out. So x times x is x squared, x times 3 is plus 3x, negative 6 times x is negative 6x, and negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. Equals 0. Combine, so x squared minus 3x minus 18 equals 0. And that's it. Nothing to it. Keep going. Again, this is the same kind of deal. I'm not going to do this one, but again, if you guys want to practice, this is a good example of another one to do. Of course. Okay, let's do this one though. Okay, this one is going to be a little bit different. Again, example. This can be 2b for you guys, or 2c. Doesn't really matter. So again, in this case, I'm going to do the same thing. So it'll be x equals 2/5 and x equals negative 4. So in this case, I need to start this one out by multiplying by 5. Okay, to get rid of that. So it'll be 5x equals 2. Subtract 2 over. So 5x minus 2 equals 0. That's our first one. Here, just add 4 over. So x plus 4 equals 0. Combine them. So it'll be, I'll do it up here, so it'll be 5x minus 2 times x plus 4 equals 0, and then FOIL it. So 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times 4 is plus 20x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Combine your like terms, so it'll be 5x squared plus 18x minus 8 equals 0. Just like that. Alright, so I want to get into some solving. So let's look at this next one, see what we got. Okay, so again, in the last video we talked about just solving. You look at a regular trinomial, and you see that again here a equals 1, so we can. This is just a simple trinomial. So we're going to do factors of 24 that add up to 2. So 24 factors of 24. I've got 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and then 4 and 6. Now be careful here because I've got. I got 4 and 6. It's going to add up, but again, this middle term is very important when you're talking about 24. All right, so again, in this case, I need to use 4 and 6 are the other ones I can get to add up to 2, and I have to make it a negative 4 to do that. So these are my factors. So I'll go ahead and go straight to my answer. So it'll be x minus 4 times x plus 6 equals 0. So now we'll set them both. Use the zero product property. Set them both equal to 0. So x minus 4 equals 0, and x plus 6 equals 0. Add 4 here. X equals 4, and then subtract 6 here. X equals negative 6. Not too bad. Alright, let's keep going. Okay, now we've got one that looks like, again, it looks like a more complicated one, but in fact it's not, because I can pull out a GCF here. So 3 goes into all three of these numbers, so I'm going to pull out a 3. So it'll be x squared minus 2x minus 15. And now we can just factor out factor in the parentheses. So it'll be 15. Factors of 15 are 1 and 15, and 3 and 5. So in this case, I need 3 and negative 5 to make it work. So those are my factors. So it'll be 3 times x plus 3 times x minus 5 equals 0. And now you see I have this GCF out front here. I'm going to set that equal to 0 as well. So it'll be 3 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0, and x minus 5 equals 0. 3 does not equal 0, so we don't care about that. That's not important. So subtract 3 here. X equals negative 3. Add 5. X equals 5. And there you go. Let's keep trucking. Where are we at now? Let's see what we got. Okay, so let's go ahead again. I'm going to pull out a factor again here. So you're going to want to, because you'll notice you got a 2 in each one. And I'm actually going to pull out a negative just to make our factoring a little bit easier. So everything is divisible by 2, and everything is divisible by x. So I'm going to pull out a negative 2x. Now be careful here because it's going to change all the signs. So we're left with 3x squared minus 8x plus 4 equals 0. So now again, when a doesn't equal 0, okay, it doesn't equal 1, you have to use the AC method. Alright, so let's do that. So 3 times 4 is 12. So factors of 12 that add up to negative 8. So 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. So in this case, I need a negative 8. So the only way to do that is with 2 and 6. I'm going to need to make them both negative. So there you go. And again, in the AC method, you split them up. So split up both terms. So again, leave out your... actually, I tell you what, for now, don't forget about this guy. I'm going to circle him so we don't forget him. But it's going to get kind of confusing. So I'm going to wait just a second to plug him back in. So don't forget about him. We're going to need to have him down in the further equation. But I'm going to go ahead and factor this. So rewrite it as 3x squared minus 2x minus 6x plus 4 equals 0. And we'll split it. So now here I can pull out an x, and I'm left with 3x minus 2. Bring down your middle sign. Again, that changes your signs in your second part. So this will be, I can pull out a 2 here. So it'll be 3x minus 2. equals 0. Again, you see my parentheses match, so I can write them one more time. Pull that out. 3x minus 2 times x minus 2 equals 0. And set each one of these guys equal to 0. So 3x minus 2 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. So add 2. So 3x equals 2, divide. So x equals 2/3 for our first one. And then add 2 here, and x equals 2 for our other one. Alright guys, next one, here we go. Again, the thing you should notice about these is that every quadratic equation has to be set equal to 0. Alright, so now we're going to have to go ahead and do that. If it's not set equal to 0, we need to make it set equal to 0. So let's do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get these guys over here. So I'm going to subtract 4x over. And that cancels. And I'm also going to subtract 20 over. Okay, so this will be x cubed plus 5x squared minus 4x minus 20 equals 0. Now from the last video you guys saw, you guys learned that if anytime you have 4 terms and there's nothing you can factor out, you're going to need to split it down the middle. You're going to need to factor by grouping. So I'm going to split it. Okay, and again, the GCF of the first group, you see I can pull out an x squared. Okay, and then I'm left with x plus 5 inside. Bring down your minus sign. So again, this is going to be minus, and I can pull out a 4. So minus 4 here, and I'm left with, again, it changes every sign in the back, so it'll be x plus 5 again. Equals 0. Now we're going to set each thing equal to 0. And by that I mean we're going to factor out, you see the parentheses match. Excuse me, I just had to pause it to sneeze, and I didn't give myself enough time to recover. Anyway, you see our parentheses match, so I'm going to pull that out, so it'll be x plus 5, and then x squared minus 4. Okay, now one thing that equals 0. Now one thing here you guys are going to have to be able to notice right away is that this is a difference of perfect squares. So this is going to factor into, let me rewrite my x plus 5. So this will be x plus 2 and x minus 2 equals 0. Now here we have 3 parentheses, so we're going to set all 3 of them equal to 0. So it's going to be x plus 5 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. Solve them, so subtract 5 here, x equals negative 5, subtract 2, x equals negative 2, add 2, x equals 2. Alright, so again, you see that I had my degree here was 3, and I have 3 answers. That's how you can tell how many answers you're going to have. Let's do some more practice with the difference of squares, and actually I meant to do this one first, but that's fine, it really doesn't matter. So here it says solve by factoring. Again, I just told you, notice example 6. Whoops. Okay, so again, each one has to be equal to 0. Each quadratic has to be equal to 0. So we're going to start by subtracting 25 from both sides. So this will be 36x squared minus 25 equals 0. Now, this looks different, but again, you see it's subtraction in the middle, and it is actually, everything in here is a perfect square. Okay, the square root of 36 is 6, the square root of x squared is just x, and the square root of 25 is 5. So now I can just rewrite this as 2 parentheses. Okay, so it'll be 6x plus 5 times 6x minus 5 equals 0. So now we'll set each one equal to 0, so it'll be 6x plus 5 equals 0, and 6x minus 5 equals 0. So here subtract 5, 6x equals negative 5, divide by 6, x equals negative 5 over 6, and then do the same thing except add, so add 5, so it'll be 6x equals 5, divide, x equals positive 5 over 6. Alright, I'm all done, guys. Hope that helped. See you next time.